Another busy day in our nation's streets and businesses and homes, and yet, friends, it's another day in which I fear the basic goodness of America is being drained away one step at a time, and sometimes it's coming from friendly fire. That's my feeling about Chris Christie, a man whose candidacy I supported when he was running for New Jersey governor against John Corzine. You'd have to be awfully bad for me to think Corzine was the other option, was the better option. But I didn't expect this. And so today what we are getting from all of the news reports is that he's going to sign into law a ban on conversion therapy not being mandated. And let me be very clear about that. There is no current law in New Jersey that says if a child feels like he may have feelings towards the same gender person, that suddenly you have to like put electrodes on his head and like shock him into conformity. There's nothing like that. Conversion therapy is offered by psychologists and counselors when children have those attractions and those things going on inside of them that they don't want. They're unwanted feelings. If you want them and you like them, there's no one saying you have to get rid of them. There's nobody coming into your bedroom at night if you're a young boy and you have posters of bare-chested men on your wall. There's no one hunting you down, tracking you down. Conversion therapy is only offered to people that actually desire it. So what's the benefit of this? Who even wins in taking this off the table? Does everyone that has a sexual desire, are we supposed to indulge every single sexual desire? Is that the way it's supposed to go? If you give it an ounce of thought, you'll very quickly come to the realization that of course not. There are many women who don't want to have sex with all the men that leer at them in the public square every day, and that sin is just as real a sin as two homosexual guys getting in bed together. When a man lusts at a woman, it is the same sin in God's eyes. One's not better, one's not worse. It's the same. Okay, they both keep you out of heaven. They both send you to hell. It's the same deal. But we restrain the one form of sexual expression, a man who sees a woman and wants to conquer her and take her no matter what. We don't let him rape her. That's a form of sexual expression that we restrain as a culture. We have laws against it. We say, no, that's not healthy. That's not good for the welfare of society. It's not good for the welfare of that woman. So we have laws limiting sexual expression all over the place. And in most places, you still can't sleep with your sibling. We're not sure about Massachusetts. They may have approved it there, but I think almost everywhere else it's still against the law. There's reasons we do that. Medical, societal, all kinds of things. We've deemed it necessary to disallow that form of sexual expression. Now what we've done in California and in New Jersey, we've said even if you are afflicted with a sexual desire for a sexual expression that you don't want, you can't talk to anybody about it that may actually give you some form of help. How stupid does Governor Christie have to be to buy into this propaganda? How absolutely, utterly, ridiculously foolish does he have to be? And that's not degrading Governor Christie. That's calling a spade a spade. This is foolishness and stupidity in biblical epic terms. And he doesn't seem to care. Because I guess you got to run for president and you're hoping not to offend too many people. That's probably what it is. You don't want the gays mad at you. They might not fund you. I wish we had a different world. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Tammy calling from Texas. Hi, Tammy. Welcome to AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Hi, Kevin. You've almost been channeling me while I've been listening. But about 3 weeks ago, God's been kind of talking to me. About 3 weeks ago, I saw an article on the news, and I don't even remember the guy's name, but he was in prison for sexually abusing children, and they weren't going to give him parole until he'd gone through reparative therapy. And it just dawned on me that, this is the next thing. I listened to you all last week, and I totally agree with you. I think the toothpaste is out of the tube on a lot of these issues, but I think that's where we're heading next, is that there's no sexual morality anywhere. And, I do think there's a solution. I don't want to give up. I think that if you look at what positive things are happening now is with Christians, with the abortion issue. Why is that? And it's because we've prayed constantly for the last 20 years or 40 years or whatever for these babies, and we're finally, God is answering our prayers. And I just feel like we need to be standing up in front of our schools and praying for our children, for God to guide them, because there's no other way to do it.
Well, I think there's one other thing, Tammy, and please hear me on this. When I say that the culture isn't going to get any better, that doesn't mean I believe that our responsibilities change in any way. My responsibility as a father is to still raise my boys, and hopefully, God willing, someday a daughter, to fear God and to live honorably for Him. I'm going to be breaking cultural norms to be telling them that. I'm going to be going probably against the law to say, don't act on sexually immoral instincts. And I may have to risk, going to jail for saying stuff like this on the air. I don't know. We're getting awfully close to it. But the truth is, I think for the believer, the issue is not whether we're in the majority in the culture. The issue is, will we live faithfully? Don Wildman's soundbite at the top of this show, for as long as I host this show, will always be there, where he says faithfulness is the word. It's not about success. It's about being right with God and living faithfully with Him, because He's been faithful to us. And I hope and pray that God remembers who we are and our desire to do that in the process of that. Tammy, thank you for your encouragement and for your call. Let me go next to, right back to Texas. Man, Texas has got nearly all the phone lines occupied today. Iris, welcome to AFA Today. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us.
I think there's a lot of motives on Governor Christie's part, not only to, appease the gays, but as well, and the gay agenda, but as well to look at himself if the Republicans go more moderate or left, as some seem to be, as they are seeming to be heading without, of course, great leadership like Ted Cruz, our senator from this great state. But my comment also was the fact that I believe some months ago, and I was really praying that the Supreme Court would rule in favor of traditional marriages being upheld, which it didn't, but I felt that we would see the worst persecution since the book of Acts. I think that was a God word for me, and it goes along with what you're saying and what we have already seen. Even this is evidence of our religious rights being taken away. Think of the counselors that are godly people that want to give right advice. I wanted your comment.
No, I did, Iris. You're seeing the same things I am, and for people that want a bright, shiny, happy, smiley face for Christianity in America for the next number of years, it's not going to be that way. Not real Christians. People that want to get together and talk about love, talk about having a better house and a better home, and getting together and talking about all the ways you can encourage one another, and you can do all kinds of things, to help your family and help yourself and become a better person. If that's all your church does, well, then you're probably going to be fine. It's the people that actually believe that the Word of God means something for them, means something for society, means something for their children, for the next generation, for the children that come over and play in your home. I mean, we're up a very difficult creek, and we don't really have a paddle. And I'm okay with that. I'm praying that God will give me the strength to be the faithful example to the young eyes that are in the McCullough household while we, proceed through these choppy waters in the days to come. But friends, the choppy waters are here. And it didn't take long. It didn't take long. You got pastors being banned from memorial concerts for Martin Luther King Jr. You got school issues allowing boys in girls' bathrooms and girls in boys' bathrooms, and the whole purpose of all of it is confusion. And why is conversion therapy being banned? Because it's kind of like visiting a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic when you go in. They say they present the alternative, the choices for young women, and yet somehow their choice always ends up in sticking a fork up their female parts and killing a baby. So somehow the only choice when you go into the devil's arena is death and destruction. They don't say, did you consider adoption? They don't say, did you consider having the child and raising the child and letting us help you? No, that's why the whole crisis pregnancy clinic movement came about, was because when you went to the abortion doctor, he just went ka-ching, 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 because every abortion's 5, 10, 15 grand, depending on what stage of pregnancy it is. It's greed. Well, now we have entered a certain window with the issue of sex that must be looked at from the standpoint of we cannot allow anyone to say anything. We can't give you a choice. We can't offer you an alternative or another option, because we must hold to this line that says if you have a sexual inclination, you must act on it. That's the new accepted truth. And it's the only one that the secular society is interested in hearing. They don't want to know anything about restraint or honor or dignity or anything. They just want, because everyone's got a guilty conscience. I've ruined people's lives because I slept around, and I don't want to feel bad about it, so I don't want you being able to have permission to tell me that what I did was wrong. And we don't want to admit we're wrong on anything anymore. So it's pride, it's the human spirit, it's the sin nature, it's the sexual drive, it's everything thrown together, and you cannot criticize anyone ever, or you're going to go to jail. And you're going to go to jail sooner rather than later. I don't care what the very tolerant-minded activists on TV have to say about it. They're a bunch of liars. If they had their way, they would be putting pastors in prison yesterday. They don't want Romans read. They don't believe in the Bible. They don't want anything related to God or Jesus as part of this conversation. They just don't. Let's go to Janelle calling from Texas. Janelle, you're up next on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Glad to be here, Kevin. I'm just sick at my stomach from listening to all this stuff with this Christie that I think he's lost his mind. And I don't understand where the Christians are, that we need to stand up and say our piece. The small percentage are the homosexuals, and they're the ones that are being heard. And
if we truly understood the percentage difference, just to play off your point there, Janelle, it would be mind-blowing. We have at best maybe somewhere between 1 and 6% of the population that are active homosexuals, that engage in homosexual activity, that embrace it. There may be other people that have said, well, I had feelings at one time or whatever. But in terms of actively living the life, you have like 1 to 6% of the population. More than 90% of the population claim they believe in God. More than 60% of the population say they are Christians. Now, what that means to different people in different contexts is different. And I don't believe all of them would be considered, even born again or even traditional Christians. But you still have an overwhelming number of people that are of different mind. And the fact that it's this tiny little sliver, this little 6% at best, that's going to shut down the parental rights of parents to be able to say, if their child comes to them and they say, Mom, Dad, I have this bad feeling. I feel sexually attracted to someone that I'm not supposed to, and I want help. I'm embarrassed by this. I don't want anybody to know about this. They can't go find a counselor now. In California, New Jersey, that will help their child walk through it. It's appalling. Janelle, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. But she's right. She's absolutely right. Tiny little percentage of the population, huge influence. So much so that it causes a sitting governor who has been somewhat reliable in issues of family matters in past years to violate his conscience, to go against his faith, to sign a law that violates his own belief system. You can tell elections are around the corner. Let's go to Alan in Virginia. Hi, Alan. Welcome. You're on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Yeah, we're glad to be here.
Your thoughts?
Well, my first comment is about Governor Christie. I think he's a closet Democrat anyway. I don't care nothing for him. And as far as boys being able to use the girls' bathrooms and shower stuff, I think that's a big crock of crap. Had the boys to go in the girls' bathroom, be going in there for perverted reasons, or either to assault somebody, in my opinion. And I believe California is also not the only one that's signed that bill to do that now. I believe Massachusetts also has passed that law for boys to use the girls' bathroom.
Yeah, you're right. And I was corrected by a listener about that last week, and you're absolutely 100% correct. And evidently, in New York here, the Assembly has passed a bill just like that about, 10 or 11 sessions straight. It's been the GOP-held Senate in the New York state legislature that has kept that from coming to fruition. But if they ever take the other house of the state assembly, that will easily pass. And if it's a Democratic mayor, or governor, I'm pretty sure that that's going to become law in the state of New York as well. Pretty scary stuff that we're dealing with, friends. And it's made worse by good people doing the wrong thing. Chris Christie was supposed to be a reformer. He was supposed to be someone who was going to clean up his state after John Corzine and Jim McGreevey left it a total mess. But here he is, advancing a bill that he even says in his own signing note will take away the rights of parents. I'm Kevin McCullough. This is AFA Today on AFR Talk.